You are at Rant Lake, where I rant about whatever my $15 a month plus patrons want me to rant about. You can get one of these by being one of those. This one's for Magus the Outrageous, who says to rant about Ryuutaro Nakamura. Ryuutaro Nakamura was a really excellent anime director who unfortunately died in 2013 of pancreatic cancer. He was the director of Serial Experiments Lain, most famously, as well as Kino's Journey and Ghost Hound. Those are the ones he's best known for because they're the most artful, out there, different from the norm things that he did. But Ryutaro Nakamura doesn't strike me as somebody who specifically was out to make like art house properties. I mean, again, he did other things, some of which are good. He directed Wreck. He directed a Sakura Wars show that I haven't seen. He did some Legend of Crystania stuff, which I don't know anything about. There's recently been this restoration project to try to reclaim a OVA called Tomcat's Big Adventure. You could find out about this on the Twitter at Project Tomcat, which apparently was this 1992 OVA that involved all these like fantastic animators. It was going to be Ryutaro Nakamura's directorial debut. It looks like it's basically a children's adventure thing with starring like anthropomorphic cat characters. But I mean, it looks really cute and fun, and apparently they basically had completed it and then just didn't release it, or it went unfinished. I'm not entirely sure. And people have been trying to reclaim the footage of it. And yeah, I mean, that seems pretty interesting. And he fucking storyboarded, wrote it, directed it. That's like all him. But, again, what he's better known for is probably Serial Experiments Lain. And I think that between the different stuff that I've seen of his, what's most like directly his influence is the tone of the series, the like very oppressive feel of it, and especially the sound design. Ryutaro Nakamura has his works have a very serious focus on sound design in a way that most anime doesn't. Lots of really unique sounds, really like what's the word I want to use? Like well produced. It's like all over the speaker. If you were to listen to his shows with headphones on, it will be a delightful experience. If you're an audiophile, you'll get a lot out of Ryutaro Nakamura's work. I mean, I think most of you have probably seen Serial Experiments Lain if you're even clicking on this video, but Ghost Hound is even more audio focused since a lot of the show is about auditory hallucinations and lucid dreaming and sleep paralysis and stuff like that. I think that a lot of what makes the more distinctive stuff he's done so distinctive is the other people who worked on it with him. I mean, in the case of Serial Experiments Lain, it's very much a Chiaki J. Konaka script. Like that's where most of the ideas I think come from. It's the way that they're brought to life that Nakamura does a fantastic job with, and then of course you also have the Yoshitoshi Abe character designs, which are so integral to that as well. If you compare that against the Ghost Hound, it's like, even though you still have the anxiety, the weird feeling of like slow paced scenes and the creative shot compositions and the incredible sound design, without the Yoshitoshi Abe character designs, it feels very different. Without being, I think it was written by Chiaki Konaka, but it was also, it was written by him and conceptualized by Masamune Shiro, who did the original Ghost in the Shell. And like you see elements of those creative marks in the show as well. When you look at Kino's Journey, that one is it's very different from the other two because it doesn't have that Chiaki Konaka writing. It's based on a light novel series, and it's pretty different from the light novels. Like I've read the first Kino's Journey book. It's it's a bunch of vignette stories, so the anime doesn't just adapt them in order exactly as they are in the book. But like, rather than being about like super trippy stuff or like all these high concept ideas, it's more of a moody adventure story about a character just going to different places and experiencing their culture for 3 days at a time. I mean, there's lots of themes and richer sort of storytelling than you might get from a typical adventure story. I mean, it's really like a road novel style of story, but like again, it's not the same as the other one. So it's like with Ryuutaro Nakamura, I feel like he is a fantastic director, but not very much an auteur one. Not one who like, um, whose creative mark is so obvious as say, you know, fucking what's his name, Ikuhara or Hideaki Anno. But still, it's like I would have loved to see more work from him. I would have loved to see him bring his unique collaborative style to more shows. He was working on a show called Despera, which was going to be the reuniting of Chiaki Kanaka, Yoshitoshi Abe, and Ryutaro Nakamura on one project again. All the art for it looked fantastic, and then tragically he died. So we'll never get that or anything else from him. Very unfortunate, but look back on his work because it's worthwhile. I mean, he has a pretty small filmography, so I maybe one day I'll get around to trying to watch all the other stuff he did that's not as well known and see if it has more of his mark on it than it might look from a distance. And that's that.